Your favorite team might have just lit their 2026 season on fire before it even started. Let's talk about who won free agency and who just flushed their money down the toilet. The first team I want to talk about is the Dolphins. I think they did a sneaky good job. I love the Malik Willis signing. I think he could potentially be a great quarterback, and they got him on a really cheap deal. When you don't have your franchise quarterback like the Dolphins, you should be taking as many shots as you can to find the guy. Let me be clear though, the Dolphins are going to be bad next year. Their roster is in terrible shape, their cap was a mess, they had to be huge sellers. I think they sold high on Jalen Waddle and they got a pretty good return, a first and a third. That leaves them with 7 picks in the first 3 rounds and their first chance in a while to actually replenish this roster with young, cheap talent. My only concern is that this roster on offense might be so bad that we might not be able to tell if Malik Willis is actually any good. The offensive line should be fine, but the pass catchers are awful. Their top 2 wide receivers are going to be Tutu Atwell and Jalen Tolbert. The good news is that there's really only 2 outcomes here. One is that they are awful, Malik Willis is horrible, and they get a top 3 draft pick to draft their franchise quarterback of the future. Or Malik Willis is good and they play their way out of a top draft pick, but they have their guy at quarterback on a really cheap deal. My first losing grade has to go to the Cowboys. They had a lot of work to do, especially on defense, and I just don't think they did enough. They have holes at linebacker and corner that they just didn't fill, and I also really hated the Rashawn Gary trade. They gave up a 4th round pick when he was going to be cut, and they could have gotten him for free. I also don't love trading away defensive tackle Osa Digizua. 3rd round pick, that's decent value, but I would have rather seen them retain him. I think they could use him. It just feels like 2026 is going to be a wasted season for the Cowboys because this defense is still going to stink. The next team whose moves I really liked were the Minnesota Vikings. They came into the offseason strapped for cash with a desperate need at quarterback, which is a tough spot to be in. Coming away with Kyler Murray on a minimum contract is a huge win. It is not every day that you get a free shot at a potential franchise quarterback who has played like a top 10 guy in the past. Normally that's going to cost you a top 5 draft pick. They lost some guys on defense, but I love the James Pierre signing, and I trust that Brian Flores can keep this defense as a top 10 unit. My next losing grade has to go to the Bengals. I like the guys that they signed in general, but they have been hamstringing themselves with the way that they structure their contracts so that they don't have enough money to make other moves that they need to improve this roster. It feels like the Bengals front office doesn't understand the nuanced mechanisms of the salary cap that they can use to create more space that other teams do all the time. They have desperate needs at linebacker and additional depth needs on the offensive line, the cornerback room, and the edge room. And because of the way they structured those contracts, they're just not going to be able to fill them. Don't forget to follow because I'm going to be doing a bunch more of these.